Ontario's Minister of Mines makes an appearance at the Central Canada Resources Expo. Good evening and thank you for joining us. The second and final day of CEN-CAN wrapped up this afternoon in Thunder Bay. It featured more than 300 exhibits and was capped off by a full-day mining conference attended by Mining Minister George Pirie. Joel Mendelson joins us in studio with more details about the day. Joel.
Thanks, Ryan. The job fair was quite impressive, with a lot of new technology and heavy equipment on display, and some words of encouragement for the mining sector in northwestern Ontario. The second day of Central Canada's job fair at Fort William Gardens and the Curling Club featured a technology showcase packed with live demos, like this new remote camera and diggers, and dozens of mining and resource companies networking and looking for new hires. This year's conference is being touted as highly successful, outselling its previous event.
There's a buzz in the town. I mean, there's 653 more hotel rooms booked this year than last year. Yeah, so it's been a tremendous, and it is a tremendous success.
Ontario's mining minister, George Pirie, was a guest speaker for the all-day mining conference held at the Elks Lodge, which focused on critical minerals and the future of the mining industry. Studies say the lithium industry is expected to grow by nearly 13% over the next 10 years as the production of electric vehicle batteries progresses. Pirie provided his State of the Mining address, which outlines a bright future for the sector in Thunder Bay and the Northwest.
Critical minerals is the future. It's very obvious that Thunder Bay is going to have a lithium hub. It will be the lithium hub for North America. Phenomenal number of exciting lithium deposits and developments. It speaks to the future of the economy in northwestern Ontario.
Pirie attributes the rise of the mining industry to Premier Doug Ford's so-called gamble on the minerals sector years ago. Pirie adds that he's pleased to see more First Nations are taking charge in the industry.
And this is a fundamental change about and different about how different we are now as we were in the past. This is undeniably the Ring of Fire. The EAs are being led by the Indigenous people, Webequie and Martin Falls, and that's just as the way it should be.
Joel Mendelson, TBT News.
The Thunder Bay Pulp and Paper Mill is celebrating a century in operation today. Politicians, company reps, and longtime mill employees were there to mark the milestone. Lee Noonan was there as well and brings us this report.
The very first pulp ever produced here was in July of 1924. 100 years later, much has changed, but they're still making pulp at the end of Niebing Avenue. Thunder Bay Pulp and Paper invited workers, industry partners, and dignitaries from around the region to celebrate the anniversary, including 2 provincial cabinet ministers.
For 100 years, this company has been a symbol of stability, not just as a major employer in the region, but an essential driver of our region's economy.
I see a complexion of people ready to go another 100 years.
The mill has changed hands and changed names many times over the last century. Current president Kent Ramsey says technological innovations and ongoing investments by the succession of owners are the reason the mill has withstood the ups and downs of the industry.
You don't see a 100-year-old facility, you see a lot of investment and a lot of money, and that economic activity is what's created a lot of the base of Thunder Bay and have provided for a lot of families over that generational.
All mill employees, past and present, were invited to join the celebration.
There's so much nostalgia. I still feel like I belong here, even though it's been 20 years.
I started in the spring of 1960. We were loading boats.
It put food on my table, like our family's table, for my entire life, and it's putting food on my kids' table now.
Ramsey says he sees the mill continuing to evolve over the next 100 years with the production of new products like biofuel and biodegradable plastics, and he's confident paper isn't going anywhere either.
That new generation likes a book, and that's a good thing. Everybody buy a book.
Lee Noonan, TBT News.
A collision on Highway 1117 this afternoon in Nipigon has resulted in serious injuries, according to OPP. First responders were called to the scene just after 4 o'clock. Few details are available, but the crash appears to have involved a transport and a pickup truck at the First Street intersection, which is the main entrance into Nipigon. The Trans-Canada and First Street were completely shut down until about 5 o'clock. The highway has since reopened to 1 lane with alternating traffic. Premier Doug Ford touted the state of Ontario's economy this morning while addressing the Toronto Region Board of Trade. Ford also weighed in on the race for the White House in the U.S. CTV's Siobhan Morris has those details.
The Premier emphasizes to the Toronto Region Board of Trade, Ontario's economic future is very much tied up in the U.S. presidential election.
Yeah, boy, we've got our hands full with either one of them.
This, Doug Ford says, will be a critical election. So will the months that follow, with the trade agreement between Canada, the U.S. and Mexico up for renegotiation in February.
We need to do everything we can to shore up our support, maintaining and strengthening our partnerships.
Ford has tried to make those partnerships personal, inviting American elected officials to his home.
Making sure our representatives, no matter if it's in Texas or California or I think Chicago and Washington, are all moving in the same direction, working with congresspeople and senators and governors.
Ford insists his only preference is a president who'll work with Ontario, America's third biggest trading partner. But there is anxiety around a promise from former President Donald Trump.
We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world.
Donald Trump has threatened tariffs between 10 and 20% on all goods entering the U.S. The Canadian government's been pressuring Trump's team for an exemption, given how interconnected our economies are. Canada's industry minister says those arguments have been well received. The feds have also been meeting with dozens of governors, senators, and Congress members.
No one is going to commit right now, but they understand what the Canadian exception in a way. People understand that, you're going to need semiconductors to be successful in the digital economy. You're going to need energy and power, and Canada is already a partner.
A partnership Canada hopes can remain strong. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
A small group of land defenders from Grassy Narrows is caravanning across the province to Toronto, stopping along the way to shore up support and share their story. They met with supporters in Thunder Bay earlier this week.
I want to see justice for my community. I want to see, I think, like, for all our people to be compensated, because, we've been robbed a way of life. We've been robbed even our own health. And I want to see the mill shut down.
Chrissy Isaacs says she was born at the peak of the mercury contamination crisis in Grassy Narrows. She was exposed in utero, meaning her children and grandchildren have been exposed as well. She's been fighting for justice for 30 years since she was a teenager. In May, a study revealed that effluent from the Dryden Mill is still making the problem worse. And as far as Isaacs can tell, nothing has been done in the months since the report came out. But she hasn't lost hope.
There is going to be something done, and because it's my children's life at stake and it's my grandchildren's life at stake, so we're going to shut it down.
The caravanners will be joined in Toronto by another 50 Grassy Narrows citizens on September 17th. And they expect hundreds of additional activists to accompany them on a march to Queen's Park to demand the closure of the Dryden Mill. OPP are looking for the male driver of a pickup truck that was allegedly involved in a hit and run with a child on a bicycle earlier this month. Fortunately, this child sustained only minor injuries. Police say a blue Ford pickup truck struck the child near the Dawson Road intersection of Highway 1117 shortly after 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, September 1st. The truck is said to have a cover over the bed of the vehicle and to bear an Ontario license plate that begins with the letters AN. Anyone with information is asked to contact the OPP or Crime Stoppers. Thunder Bay OPP have arrested 4 people on drug charges after a traffic stop on the highway yesterday near Lakeshore Drive. A vehicle search found suspected cocaine, fentanyl, and other items related to drug trafficking. Police believe the total value of the drugs is about $22,000 on the streets. 2 London residents, aged 30 and 31, along with a 29-year-old from Toronto and a 17-year-old suspect, were charged with multiple drug offenses. The 4 accused were held in custody for a bail hearing today. The United Way of Thunder Bay celebrated its 60th anniversary this morning with its annual kickoff breakfast, and the organization took the opportunity to announce its new funding model called Better is Possible. The new strategy aims to tackle community issues with larger scale projects. Consultations will be held with community leaders to determine which projects will best address Thunder Bay's most urgent needs. People at today's breakfast were also asked to write down their wishes for the city and pin them on a wall. United Way CEO Albert Brule explains the organization's new vision and the causes it might support.
What are the most impactful initiatives that we can work on together and invest in and get the greatest return? Homelessness, youth mental health, food insecurity, those are examples of the kinds of challenges that we believe we can overcome by working together, collaborating, and focusing our efforts in a big way on those pressing challenges.
The new strategy is being launched this fall. The organization expects to announce its first initiative with a fundraising goal early next year. The 5th annual Wake the Giant Music Festival is set to go this Saturday at Marina Park. Today, students and staff from Dennis Franklin Cromartie High School took part in one of the events leading up to the big concert, the annual Amazing Race. The orientation event aims to help students navigate the city safely and win some prizes along the way. More than 100 students from remote northern communities were split into 9 teams. They had to use city transit to race around Thunder Bay, completing different games and challenges at each destination. DFC Student Transition Coordinator Matthew Tilbury was at the pit stop at Marina Park.
So this stop at the Marina Park acts as their lunch stop. We also have places like the Canada Games Complex, the Kinsman Center, one of our NNEC offices, and a variety of other fun ones for them to check out.
Yeah, we've been just going around the city, checking out some stops, getting to know the city for like the newer guys.
How long have you been going to DFC for?
This is my 2nd year coming in.
Nice. So you don't really need the orientation. Are you kind of acting more as a leader for your peers?
Pretty much, yeah. This is a school event, and I just wanted to tag along too.
There was a fire going on over there, just like a normal campfire, and just like telling legends and stuff like that. And we just started wandering around here, seeing what's going on.
Good.
The Wake the Giant concert runs from 11:30 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. on Saturday. Tickets, by the way, are still available. Last night was another chance to see the talents of Atikokan singer-songwriter Alex Sampson on the popular show America's Got Talent. He entered the semi-final round of the competition with his latest song, Wallflower. This original song, written by Sampson, was inspired by Judge Simon Cowell's advice to share a song that carries more emotion, meaning, and direct connection to his fans. The audience responded with enthusiastic cheers and lit up the performance with the glow of their phone lights swaying to the beat. The judges were all very supportive this time around, with Howie Mandel offering a standing ovation.
Howie, a standing ovation. Oh, I still predict that he's going to go all the way. I think he's going to be the biggest star of the season. These are all original songs. I feel like I'm at his album listening party. That song's going to be on the charts tomorrow. You mark my word.
The 6 acts voted to move on to the finals will be revealed on tonight's episode at 8 o'clock. All right, and a lot of people cheering him on, to be sure. All right, Fiona, let's turn our attention to the weather now. Maybe not quite as hot as we've seen over the past couple of days, but nothing to scoff at there at 22.
Yeah, definitely above normal. Not quite as sunny as we had hoped. It took a little while for the sun to burn off some of that early morning fog and some of the lingering cloud. But we did top out with a high of 22 and a humidex of 28, well above normal for this time of year. Winds were from the east-northeast, pretty consistent, ranging from about 7 to 17 kilometers throughout the day. And that was after an early morning low of 12. So right now, if we take a look what's happening, we've got a whole lot of sunshine to the west in Fort Frances. They're currently at their high 28 with a humidex of 33. There is cooler air moving in from the north. Red Lake currently at 19 under mostly cloudy skies, no humidex to speak of. Similar temperatures into Sioux Lookout, Armstrong, Greenstone at 16. They've been there all day under cloudy skies. And Sault Ste. Marie 25 under mostly cloudy conditions tonight. A low of 12 with some increasing cloud. We do have some fog patches continuing. But looks like Friday, Ryan, we're going to have another day pretty much like today.
Not too bad. We will take it while we have it. I've been saying that for a few days now. All right, let's turn our attention to national news now and the looming Air Canada pilot strike. They could walk off the job next week, and now the airline and some business leaders across the country are urging the federal government to intervene. We'll have details right after the break.
Thinking more about just renting a car and driving home because that's guaranteed to get us there.